Self-Assessment on the Disappearance Day of Śrīla Guru-pādapadma by Śrīmad Bhaktivedānta Vāmana Gosvāmī Mahārāja. Excerpt from a lecture delivered on October 5th, 1998, Śrī Śyāmasundara Gaudiya Maṭha, Siliguri, West Bengal. Never forget Śrī Guru. Today's special festival marks the beginning of the last month of our Chaturmasya Vrat. This last month of Chaturmasya is called Kārtika Vrat, Urja Vrat, or Damodar Vrat. Since today is also Sharadiya Rasyatra, Shri Krishna's autumn Raslila, it evokes special remembrance of the disappearance day of our most worshipable Śrīla Guru-pādapadma, Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnupad Ashtutara Shatashi Śrīmad Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Gosvāmī Mahārāja. Therefore, as I begin my talk, I first pray to the lotus feet of Śrīla Guru-pādapadma for increasing enthusiasm in my sadhan bhajan. Today is the disappearance day of our Gurudev, the day on which we observe our separation from him. Although the appearance and disappearance days of those in our Gaudiya Guru Varga are of equal significance, the common man often thinks that he need only faithfully devote himself to his Gurudev as long as his Gurudev is physically present. He tends to forget his Gurudev when his Gurudev disappears from this world, or in other words, conceals his manifest pastimes. This inconsistency is vanquished by constant engagement in the service of Sri Hari, Guru, and Vaishnavas. If they are the constant objects of our remembrance, it will not be possible to forget them. But if we have a motive to receive some temporary gain from them, we will easily forget them. Forgetfulness of Bhagavan is the sole cause of all our miseries. Bhayang dvitiya abhinivesha tasyar Isharapetasya viparyayo smriti Tanmaya yato buddha abhajetang Bhaktya kayeshang Gurudeva tatma. Śrīmad Bhagavatam 1-2-37. The jiva who is averse to Bhagavan forgets his own constitutional nature because of his association with Maya. Due to this forgetfulness, he becomes absorbed in the conception that he is the material body and thus thinks, I am a demigod, I am a human being, etc. In this state of bodily identification, he fears old age, disease, and so forth. Therefore, those who know the truth should consider their own guru as Ishvar, the Supreme. In other words, they should see him as their master who is non-different from Bhagavan and who is very dear to him. Through exclusive devotion, they should perform one-pointed worship of that Ishvar, their Guru. Our faults and misfortune are the results of our forgetting Bhagavan, and we will never be fortunate enough to remember him as long as we are forgetful of Sri Guru and the Vaishnavas. Therefore, when we perform bhajan, it is imperative that we first remember Sri Guru and the Vaishnavas. First, we must pray for their mercy. Only then can we pray for service of Bhagavan Sri Hari. The scriptures describe this to be the one and only process for remembering him. Sri Guru, our constant guide. As long as Śrīla Gurudev is physically present, we should desire to learn the process of sadhan bhajan from him. But instead, we are more eager to know answers to questions such as, how shall I maintain myself? How shall I eat? And how shall I clothe myself? For those who are true sadhaks, however, eating, sleeping, and dressing are of no real importance. Such sadhaks only value that which pertains to sadhan bhajan. Śrīla Gurudev gives instructions such as, you should chant the holy name. You should chant mantras such as the Gayatri mantra. You should discuss devotional books and topics. And you should engage in the archan and puja of the deity. Begin by performing sadhan bhakti and tried to advance gradually. At present, we are ignorant and do not have correct conceptions of sadhan bhakti, bhav bhakti, and prema bhakti. If we did, we would be absorbed in contemplating them exclusively. Since that is not the case, what should we do? Deha geha kala tradi chintaya virata jagi cheridaye mora buddhi korihata hai hai nahi bhabi anitya saba jivana vigate kotha rahibe vaibhava. Kalyana Kalpataru, Durlabha Manava Janma verses 8-9 by Srila Bhaktivedānta Thakur. Anxiety for my body, house, wife, and so forth constantly arises in my heart, thus destroying my intelligence. Alas, alas, I do not understand them to be temporary. Do worldly comforts and opulences remain after death? In this way, the authors of the scriptures are telling us, and also the great Vaishnavas, Mahājans, are making it known that this body is temporary. Still, we fail to proceed with caution. Despite our lackings, we are to patiently keep trying. We have to continue following the instructions of Hari, Guru, and Vaishnavas. This is of utmost importance. We repeatedly hear about the same subjects, but our hearts and minds cannot retain what we have heard. And even if we do retain it, mere mental retention of information is of no real value. It is necessary to practice what we hear and live by it. Only then does what we hear take on any real significance. But despite hearing, and more hearing, we all too soon tend to forget what we have heard. Śrī Śiksāṣṭaka, the complete process. We often see that newcomers to the path of sadhan bhajan are enthusiastic, but as time goes by, they see it as ordinary and their eagerness wanes. What method, then, is appropriate for us? How should we practice sadhan? Śrī Śiksāṣṭaka, the instructions of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, was previously known as Sadhan Patha, the path of sadhan. We may be on the path of sadhan, but we are forgetting that path. Why does such forgetfulness occur when daily we are reciting that same Śiksāṣṭaka? Why do our enthusiasm and patience diminish? That it does reveals that we are not performing sadhan with inner steadfastness. Forgetfulness of the path of sadhan can also result from over-endeavor. We need to contemplate whether our forgetfulness is due to over-endeavor or lack of endeavor. Śrīmad Mahaprabhu's Śiksāṣṭaka begins with Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. May the congregational chanting of Krishna's holy name be victorious. And Śiksāṣṭaka concludes with verses about weeping for Krishna. Both the beginning and end of the process are given. But if I'm a beginner to the path of sadhan, how can I cry? A person only cries when he is in need of something specific. Do we have any conception of our highest need? Nothing less than absolute happiness. I want the mercy of Śrī Guru, the Vaishnavas, and Bhagavan. Indeed, such contemplation nurtures the desire to attain my highest goal. How? Our Guru Varga says that if we want to realize our highest aspiration, we should not limit our desire for it, as this will not help us attain it. Arthashastra, the Vedic scripture on material prosperity, instructs a person to place a limit on his aspirations for happiness. Why? Nalpe sukham asti bhumaiva sukham. There is no happiness in this creation. This creation is full of limitations. The only abode of complete happiness is Bhagavan. In the realm of Parama Artha, or supreme spiritual welfare, limitations have no value. We don't have to be satisfied with the limited happiness of this world. If we are, we will be cheated. If one accepts the statement, Bhumaiva Sukham, complete happiness is only found in Bhagavan, to be true, one must endeavor to attain it. The scriptures say, Yatne krite yadi nasiddhati kotra doshaha. If, in spite of my efforts, I am still unable to attain him, what shall I do? Where is my fault? Who will judge whether or not I have made my best possible effort? Who will decide the extent of my eagerness for sadhan bhajan? And who will make this known to me? This needs to be contemplated. A person must know how much endeavor is required to really attain success. Measuring our progress. Jagar Guru Śrīla Bhaktivedānta Thakur said, every 15 days on each Ekadashi, a person should record how much progress he has made in his performance of sadhan bhajan. But we do not do that. And should that record be kept on a piece of paper or within our hearts? Only by recording it in our hearts will we be able to analyze our progress. Every Ekadashi, a person should make a point to record how much Harinam he did in the last 15 days, how much time he spent discussing Shastra, and how much service he engaged in. Only then can he understand whether he is making progress or whether he is going backwards. Sometimes, when we hear a certain siddhanta, we may become disheartened. Nitya siddha Krishna prema sadhya kabhu noy, Shravanadi shuddha chitte koroye udoy. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila 22:107. Krishna Prem, being eternally present in the heart of the jiva, is never acquired elsewhere. Hearing, chanting, and remembering the pastimes of Krishna purifies the heart, and thus Krishna Prem naturally awakens. Upon hearing what is required to attain my goal, I wonder if I will ever be successful. My enthusiasm begins to wane, and I begin to doubt the strength of my determination. The absolute reality cannot be attained if this doubt persists. Srila Parikshit Mahārāja listened to ample Hari Katha, and his conception of what was required of him in the line of devotion remained strong. Now, if our own conception becomes weak, we must simply move forward from whatever point we have reached in our hearing, learning, and practicing. Our constant concern is whether or not we are capable of following all the instructions the Gaudiya Vaishnavas have given us. More importantly, we wonder if we have really taken these instructions to heart, or are endeavoring to understand them. We all know that where there is a will, there is a way. We then note that although we desire to practice properly, we are not successful. But is this really the case? If we have an ardent desire, and if we are honest and non-duplicitous, then most definitely we will achieve success. We should question, how much effort am I putting into my practices? And to what extent do I try before I consider my endeavor in sadhan to be complete? What I may perceive as the end of my efforts in the realm of sadhan bhajan may actually be the very beginning. This process is not necessarily easy. Life's only treasure. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself said, Ki kaja sannyase mor prema prayojan dasa kori deho more vetan prema dhan. What value is sannyas to me? My only goal is prem. Therefore, O Bhagavan, please accept me as your servant and award me the salary of prem. Does this ever enter our minds? The scriptures state, Panchashordvam vanam vrajet. After the age of 50, one should proceed to the forest for the purpose of performing Hari Bhajan. At that time of life, one's exclusive dedication should be the development of devotion to Sri Hari. From the perspective of Sri Prahlāda Mahārāja, however, one should not wait until one has turned 50. If we anticipate that our duration of life will be 100 years, 50 years are spent simply sleeping. And if one's life lasts for 50 years, 25 go by in this way. Therefore, in the remaining half of our lives, we must become one-pointed in our sadhan bhajan. Those who have had some realization will never reveal it to anyone. Why not? Such realization is parama artha, the topmost treasure, and therefore should not be disclosed. And those who tell others about the treasure they have gained are like poverty-stricken people who boast the amount of rupees in their possession, when in actuality, their wealth is insignificant. Those who are intelligent never wander here and there telling others about their topmost wealth. You can be led into trouble simply by speaking. Śrīmad Bhagavatam says, It is difficult to earn money, it is difficult to save money, and it is painful to spend money. But the outcry of so many of us is solely for the possession and control of money. And when asked, for what? We answer, for the service of Hari, Guru, and Vaishnavas. After all, we are their servants. This is stated in the scriptures. But what understanding do we actually have of this? One should first learn and understand Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teachings, the tattva and siddhanta of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. Without such understanding, we will not be able to perform sadhan bhajan, in which the first essential step is to understand what is beneficial to our bhajan and what is not. However, simply attaining this knowledge is insufficient. One must, in this very life, practice what one has learned. Translated from Śrī Gauḍīya Patrikā, Year 56, Issue 11, by Rays of the Harmonist team. Published in English for the first time in Rays of the Harmonist, number 15, Kārtika, 2005.